Awesome. Thank you, Lauren, for the amazing introduction. My name is Felix, and I'm based in Singapore. So, good morning to everyone. And I'm super excited to be here. I understand that most people here are, probably from Malaysia. I think I hear the previous speakers speaking Malay. So, that's amazing. I think probably the only thing that I know is Selamat pagi. I guess that's good morning, right? And yeah, so I've been a designer for the past 4 to 5 years, and really, I don't really consider myself a designer. I consider myself more of a creator and a change maker. So I'm currently a design lead at Gotrade, which is a mobile brokerage, a platform that allows you to trade US stocks starting from $1 in Asia, right? If you're based in Asia. And then as well as I'm a co-founder of ADP List, which is a community platform that allows designers to connect with mentors from all around the world, right? So we have mentors from Indonesia, from Malaysia, Singapore, and even from the US, Canada, and everything is free. It's amazing. You can
Oops, I think Felix has a little bit of technical issues right now. Is anyone else experiencing this? Yeah, I believe there's something wrong with this video. Just give us a couple of seconds to get in touch with him. I'm sorry, you guys. Oh no, it's nothing wrong with your internet. We're experiencing this on our end as well. Seems like we're plagued with technical issues, but I suppose this is what happens when we work from home, and sometimes these things do happen. But I'd like to thank you once again for your patience, and so sorry for the little interruptions here and there. You know what? While we're waiting for Felix, let's just go ahead and pull up our slides. Let me talk about our lucky draw session that we have later today, as well as some of the promotion codes that we have for you. Just give me a second to do that. And of course, some of you are asking about e-certificates, and apparently no, I'm so sorry, we don't offer that.
Oh, hey guys, Felix, I am back. Yeah, sorry. My Wi-Fi is not a very good. My Wi-Fi is not a very good representation of Singapore, but Singapore is very fast. So yes, I just got to put it out as disclaimer because that happens.
All right.
Worst nightmare comes true. Talk about it in a public stage, right? So yeah, as a designer, I've been fortunate to be able to be part of really, really amazing products that have really global scale impact. And but as I grow as a designer, I have been more conscious about the things that I create and the things that I design. Partly because of the recent years, and especially this year and last year, where a lot of things has happened, especially in the climate field. And one of the things that I realized is that we might not be doing enough, right? And that if anyone here knows about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that are set out by the United Nations, it is a set of goals that entail for the entire world. It's not just for Singapore or myself. It is for the entire world to achieve by 2030. And what that means is that if by 2030 we don't achieve that goals, it could mean not the end of the world, of course, but it definitely could mean some consequences that humanity has to bear, the future generations. And as a designer, we are problem solvers, and we want to be able to solve that, right? So today I want to talk a little bit about how I see design can be a part of sustainability, and how I see designers can be a part of this bigger change that we want to talk about, right? So a little bit more about myself. I was in the military service in 2018 to 2020, so it's about 2 years. All Singaporean boys have to go for that. Then I joined Gotrade as a design lead, and then as well as co-founded ADP List during the start of the pandemic. So, I've worked with over 10 clients, amazing big clients around the world, and 100% design satisfaction. And of course, from there I learned a lot about sustainability and how I think design can truly be a part of that. So, talking about sustainability is that there's a lot of problems around the world right now. Rising sea levels that threaten the habitat of millions of lives, right? And also the biodiversity of the coastal areas, coastal countries, right? Which will cause mass migrations to other countries and cause, overpopulation in a certain country, right? Now think about it. If you think about a country that is getting flooded, right? I'm not sure if I have any in mind right now this morning, But if there ever is any country that is getting flooded, in that sense, people have to migrate, and then there will be a overcrowding and overpopulation in one city by itself. That's one problem, right? And all these are, of course, caused by climate change to start off with, right? And next is, of course, the deforestation of the Amazon forest and other rainforests. Of course, Amazon forest is the largest rainforest we have. People call it like the lungs of Earth, right? Because it helps us to sort of like facilitate the oxygen and the carbon emission within the air. So it's impacting, Amazon, the deforestation of Amazon forest, rainforest is impacting the global air circulation, right? And the amount of oxygen being produced, right? So the more that we slash and burn these places, the more carbon emission we produce and the less air circulation that we actually making throughout the entire Earth itself, right? So all this is not designed. So why is a designer talking about this, right? Because I really want to share with you the something that I deeply believe that I think as designers we can do to in sense of our part to start building from today onwards, right? And how we can build towards a more sustainable planet. So I deeply believe that sustainability starts with one person, which is us, right? And the first one that I believe that as a designer that we should do is to start thinking and designing in systems, right? So what that means is that, think about things in system in the sense that, understand the holistic landscape, right, of what is going on, right, in the problem that you're solving, be it a fintech, be it platform-based services, SaaS, right? Think about things in system. And most importantly is to include sustainability as part of that process and discussion. It's important to start including this sustainability as part of our discussion, because then that would actually help us to consider the pre and post impact of what we can create, right? So for example, let's say if you're to create a product, right, and you don't really consider the impact on the environment that this product is creating, right? You might end up, using a lot of resources that is not needed, or you might end up, impacting a lot of things that you might end up creating something that has no proper end to the life cycle of the product, right? So it can't be recycled, or it can't be, it cannot really be, congested in any way, right? So in a sense, you want to be able to create products that have a circular life cycle where it just continues going on, and all this needs to be part of your creative process, I call it. So next, it's talking about the I think it's missing slide number 2. Let me see where slide number 2. Okay, it seems to be missing, but it's okay. So slide number 2, I want to talk about, it's sharing about, having that kind of discussion which from the experts, right? So thinking in systems is not enough, right? Because we're designers and we're not, the experts in that field, right? So next is to involve experts in the field, right? Like scientists and researchers, to be part of the discussion and to seek expert opinions whenever you want to create products for sustainable impact, or even just create products in general that you think that you want to be part of that, right? So that is of course under part systems as well, right? Think in systems and consult the experts. The next one, I want to share about is really about, measuring your impact and measuring your goals, right? So, right now as designers or even as entrepreneurs and founders, people measure like the revenue, people measure the retention, engagement, activation, growth hackers knows what I'm talking about. And the fact is that, we got to start measuring beyond that, right? We got to start measuring like, how much carbon emission are we actually emitting? How much, carbon emissions are we actually saving? Are we actually moving towards a carbon neutral product? Are we actually moving towards a carbon neutral company? Right, so all these are considerations that we need to start considering and measuring, right? And of course, there are a couple of good places that we can do that. B Corp impact assessment is one of those, right? And for me, I personally volunteer at Shaper Impact Capital, which is I'm part of the venture team. So I help to scout startups and we invest in those startups. We link them up to investors, right? So I'm part of the venture team there, and we specifically look for in terms of the sustainability impact of the startups, because we are more of like, an impact-based venture team. Yeah. Lastly, besides measuring, is to have a mindset of knowing that you want to do more good than less bad. Now, this is quoted by a friend of mine, Jovan, which is the chief evangelist at Tria, which is one of the Asia's largest sustainability packaging company, right? So I'm a designer, but I often get opinions from these experts in the field, as mentioned. So doing more good and less bad is to ask yourself, are we in a time where we want to do more good or less bad? It means that, do we just want to recycle and reduce, or do we want to innovate and create more sustainable solution, right? And I believe that the latter, which means doing more good, is definitely better than doing less bad, right? Because we're at a point where, doing less bad will no longer help. We need to think about how can we really, really create innovative solutions that people can adopt, and at the same time, change the way that sustainability is being, in a way, the concept of sustainability is being adopted by day-to-day consumers, right? Be it, in a way, getting carbon out of the air, things like that. You really got to think about how do you create innovative solutions around those things. And trust me, the next decade, I'm super bullish about the sustainability and the impact space. I'm not asking anyone to start anything there for the wrong reasons, but I'm extremely bullish about the sustainability market for many, many different reasons. But I think for very good reasons is that we got to start really doing innovative solutions to help the world become a better place, right? So that is the last mindset that I want to talk about, right? So I'm keeping this webinar really short and sweet today, talking about sustainability and design, because everything starts with a mindset, right? We are still in the very early stages of this impact industry, this sustainability industry, but I think designers, we have a very important role to play with that. And of course, I have an article written about this on my Medium, so you guys can search it up. Felix Lee, exactly same title as what I talked about today. Yeah. So really, the key takeaway that you want to take away from today's presentation is really that a lot of things starts from a designer's mindset. Being part of that movement and to think in system, to really create in system, and as well as to really measure the impact that you're doing. And lastly, to ask yourself, are you actually doing more good or less bad? Right. So this is all I have for today, and I hope that the main takeaway, that the key takeaway that you can have here is that the next decade is going to be so important for us to be a part of this movement. It's going to be a part of what we do day to day, and a lot of companies will be looking at that for sure. Yeah. So if you have any questions, I'm super open to it. I can be found on LinkedIn, right? Felix Lee, and as well as on Twitter. That's my handle there, Felix Lee ZD, right? And I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have in the audience. I think we are left with a couple of minutes, so happy to answer any questions that anyone might have regarding to sustainability, specifically designing in sustainability, and design in general as well. Yeah. So thank you all.
We do have a bit of time. We do have a bit of time, and we don't have any questions yet. So for those of you guys in the audience right now, if you have any questions for Felix regarding his presentation, go ahead and leave that in the Q&A box right now. Felix, in the meantime, you talked about sustainability and the impacts and all that, but what do you think the impact of 2020 is on everything that you just talked about?
Well, I think 2020 is really like a glimpse of if we don't take care of the climate really well. I think COVID has taught us a lot of things. But if I were to say that, the way that people are reacting to COVID should be the way that people are reacting to the climate change issues. Because it is really as urgent as that, right? Of course, the scientist reports that if by 2030, we don't actually achieve those goals, we would actually go into a sort of like irreversible chain effect of climate change, where we would go over the tipping point of the temperature. And then I think we are about like 1 to 2 degrees Celsius away from that. So if we don't actually achieve that, then we go into the irreversible chain effect. Coral reefs will start to die out by 2030. 2050 will be different, right? Air will become unbreathable in the next 100 years, etc. Right? So probably most of us, we won't be there to see it. But it is not about us. I think it is about I've always believed that doing great work is about inspiring the people that comes after you. And I think sustainability is going to be a part of that, right? I mean, like I said, I've been fortunate to be able to make global impact with the products that I design. And I still find that, ultimately what is most fulfilling is not just about, creating such products that benefit people's life, but I think to a certain extent help the world as well.
I think that's very well said. Now, a little bit about you. You seem like the kind of guy who has a lot of responsibilities on hand, and you have all these ideas and things like that. So how do you deal with like the most basic thing that a lot of people go through, burnout? Because I'm sure you go through it as well.
Right. Actually, That's a very good question. So if anyone would follow me on LinkedIn, I'm super active there. And a lot of things happening in my life right now. On the professional side, of course. And in a day, I'm a Gotrade. I lead the design team at Gotrade, and then night, I'm running ADP lists. And one of the things is that burnout it happens, right, to everyone. But of course, happy to sort of say that I tend to learn how to manage it well in the very early stages of my life. I think for me, I've always grown up to be a pretty independent person. So I sort of know how to manage my calendar and schedule very well. And I think that one of the key is to take very consistent breaks. So some people say like, oh, work one entire year, take 14 days break. I don't really believe in that. I would say take very consistent breaks every single day. So what I mean is that every morning when I wake up, I don't turn on my computer immediately unless there's an emergency meeting, but other than that, I would take the first couple of hours every day, sit down, meditate, do some stretching, sometimes go for a run and work out as well. The morning is really for myself to sort of like tone down and relax, and then, really get the start of the day right. So, this is what I call like small breaks consistently. And this itself, to me, is a long-term strategy that anyone can apply to avoid burnout for sure.
All right, super cool. One question just came in, but I feel that's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek right there. It's a little bit cheeky. This one is from Jia Lance. I'm not sure if you want to answer this. You want to have a look at it? It's in the Q&A.
Yeah, I saw it. Like, what's in me to be sustainable? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what's in you for being rich, right? I mean, you get all the nice stuff, and eventually, we are all playing the same game. No one lives forever. So I think that is a very important lesson that we should all take away from 2020. And if we're all playing the same game, then why not make a little difference and a little impact? I think that goes a long way. And it's not about yourself. I think it's about the people that you grow up with, people around you. I think that is important. Not everyone is going to see that for sure. I don't.
Oh, did he just? Felix, you still there? You're breaking up a little bit.
Leaving a legacy. Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, Felix is breaking up a little bit. Felix, you still there? Earth to Felix, are you there? All right. Your line just got a bit choppy there. Do you want to repeat what you just said, just very quickly? Yeah,
sure. I mean, it's really not about like, I mean, even though I'm bullish that this is going to be a big market, but it's not about like being in the big market. It's about
Oh no.
Not every. I mean, there are people who just wants to have a comfortable living. I think that's fair. Everyone wants to have a comfortable living. It's a fair enough thing. But I think beyond that, what do you want for your life? I think to me, comfortable living is just not enough. I want to do more than just comfortable. I want to be able to leave something for the rest of humanity, to be inspired. It's not going to be about me, or it's not going to be about you, but it's about what you leave behind that can inspire others to create new things. Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I think one of our speakers yesterday actually mentioned about fulfillment, and I think fulfillment comes from not just doing things for yourself, but actually doing things for others. And I think that's a very important thing that you highlighted in your presentation today. So Felix, we're going to wrap things up right now. Right. And I just want to thank you so much for your presentation. And now feel free to hang out with us for the rest of WebFest Asia 2020. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. You guys, let's give him a big round of virtual applause in the chat box right now. Felix, thank you so much for coming on board with us. And yeah, I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Laureen.
All right, you have a great day now. Bye.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.